What's going on, you guys? Well Open Web Snappers here, bringing you the West Coast Avengers display video. With this, I'm going to be creating 3 different displays and going to show you how I make them, point things out, and hopefully it'll be entertaining for you guys. But I've been really excited to do this. This box set was really exciting. I got it for my birthday, and I've been waiting to do a complete and total West Coast display, and it's finally happening. So before I get into the video, I'm going to go ahead and point some things out with the box set, as well as other notes that will go into making the display. So I wanted to show and compare the 2 Tigra figures, because apparently some people really didn't like the neon orange. I didn't really notice that it was that bad. I thought that this new one was almost dull compared to it. But again, both are fine to me, but I probably will be using the one on the left for sure. So again, a decent upgrade when it comes to the Tigra figure that comes with it. So with the Hank Pym in this box set, I decided I wanted to see what the Hank Pym head would look on an Ant-Man figure. Now, I tried it here first with the old one, because apparently the new one's Scott Lang. So just so you can see, if you're going to abide by that, this is how, the Hank Pym would look on the regular Ant-Man figure. But I don't use that one for my Ant-Man. I use the new one. So I went ahead and popped the head on to see how this would look on the new one, and I think it's cool. It's not what I imagined for Hank Pym necessarily, but it still looks fine. It's a blonde-haired guy. I mean, not much to say. I do think of Earth's Mightiest Heroes when I think of Hank Pym, which I'll show here. But yeah, nah, this is fine. It's cool, and so I was just messing with it a little bit. And since I got this Ant-Man figure, messing with the Ant-Man, I wanted to go ahead and show how it would have looked on the Eggman figure, or Egghead. Not too bad, considering I always kind of thought Egghead was more chunky, but it could be worse. It does look a little bulky, or I'm used to seeing the heads be small or look bigger on a normal body. So, I mean, this looks fine. It will work for your scientists if you're not going to use the actual head for the figure. One to note, I do have a Moon Knight. I know he's been on the Avengers team, but this is the spare Moon Knight that I have, and I just don't think he doesn't look like he belongs with this group. So I'm probably not going to put him into the display. Maybe eventually. I do have Rebel Tech on pre-order. I just don't think it matches this classic look. I also picked up the Hawkeye with the Sky Cycle set, and I really love this Hawkeye figure, but I didn't want to use it for the West Coast. I wanted this to be with my Avengers main display, because it's essentially the best Hawkeye figure available right now. So I threw the one that was on my display in here with the West Coast. So you can see, yeah, I just think it looks a lot better here on this shelf, and it's where I wanted him anyway. That's what I was planning to do with him when I got him. So yeah. And I also like to look at a bunch of the just art for this team and seeing their different lineups to know what kind of customizations I can do to the lineups too. And then one thing I did notice was that Hawkeye was oftentimes the front and center of these groups. So I'll start with like a main character of a display or the leader of a team, and then kind of build around that. And so I think for this display, it's going to be Hawkeye. Even though he may not be actually the leader, he is kind of the front and center for when it comes to West Coast. So starting out, I tried to start with Hawkeye with the Sky Cycle to be in the middle, kind of put him towards the back, and I was trying to also get all my flying people posed in the back and where I wanted them, because it's harder to retrace your steps. So like trying to get a flying figure and put him in the back on the stand while you have other figures in front of it, that'll be a lot of falling. So retracing your steps is something you want to avoid. As I just mentioned, you're not wanting to retrace your steps. I do that here. You can see it with War Machine. I tried to hold him up and see how it'll look before I start actually putting him on a stand and posing him on the stand. I like to make sure I get a really good pose first, and then get it on the stand to make sure that it's not like half baked or anything. I'm not dealing with any like not fully posed figures in the display. Okay, and there you have it, display 1. I really like how this one came out. It was super dynamic. Everybody's doing something different. It all flows and looks like they're all interacting with one another and not just thrown up on a shelf. I think I really got what I was looking for with this, and I'm particularly impressed because I incorporated the sky cycle, and that's like something I've never really messed with before, and I had no idea how it was going to work in this display. So again, really happy with how it came out. And I'll also like point out some things too that I am particularly happy about. So I like how I have the Silver Centurion Iron Man and kind of out in the front, going almost like around the group. I think that really captured a lot of motion. And I like War Machine in the back too, going in the opposite direction. And I liked how Hawkeye looks like he's turning too, and kind of coming around Iron Man as well. Like they're all kind of like launching out. I didn't care for the Hank Pym or U.S. Agent being the front because I didn't really think U.S. Agent was the leader of this team. So that was kind of unintended having him in the front, especially because I was thinking about having Hawkeye there. But I liked how I had Spider-Woman in the back kind of leaping out. Everyone looks like they're jumping out, which is, again, what I really, really was going for to really sell that comic book cover look. Wonder Man looks good. I liked Vision's pose. I like keeping Vision pretty static and very statue-like. That's just kind of how I see him and like to capture that kind of energy with him. So yeah, love this display. Really happy with how it came out and looking forward to see what I do with the next one. For display 2, I wanted to, instead of using the sky cycle, just use Hawkeye on his own, especially in case you don't have it, so that you can kind of use this as your template, because I didn't want to incorporate the sky cycle and everything. Also, I took so long on this Tigra pose because I was trying to get her on a flight stand, and my stands don't go into the figure like this. There are no gaps between her legs, and so that made posing her surprisingly difficult, and I really wanted her on a flight stand and I just couldn't get it, so that was a bummer. Now hopefully by watching this you see how long it really does take to actually get a really good setup, and how often things will fall and how you just got to stay patient and keep working through it. This is of course advice I didn't take myself, so you'll see more why later in this video. I was actually really disappointed with how poorly the Mockingbird figure stood on her own. You'll see here, she just keeps falling over and over again, and I think it's because of the feet. And most of the time on this display, she was like leaned up against Hawkeye because the Hawkeye was sturdier. But she just kept falling over and over and over again, which is really painful because I was trying to have her stand on her own through this. So chances are she's going to be on a flight stand moving forward, and so that was kind of a bummer. At this rate, I was kind of over this display and kind of ready to be done. I was rushing it. Things had fallen over and over, and I should have taken a break, but I didn't. So that's the result I got, was a half-baked idea, and I didn't love it. And that's why you should really try and take your time, take your breaks if you need to, when things just aren't working out. So not really happy with how this one turned out. But I'll go ahead and talk about things I did like. Finally, I got Hawkeye in the front and center. The superhero landing pose came out really well, especially for such an older figure. And I actually really liked how I got Hank Pym. Definitely want to incorporate something like that. Looks dynamic for a civilian. I liked how I started using webs for the Spider-Woman. Definitely recommend that. That adds a lot more that you can do with her. And definitely, you can just see some of these poses just aren't really finished, like Vision, Iron Man's. Yeah, I'd say overall a bummer. I think I just got worn out, kind of tired. You saw a bunch of the figures fall. This display took a minute to make, and I should have just taken a break and came back to it and started over. Well, I was really disappointed with that last display, so I decided to just go ahead and make a new one and say, here you go, 2.5. I felt much better about making this one. I wasn't really recording. I was honestly just posing them individually and decided I'm just going to go ahead and make another one. So this is kind of a bonus one. I realized that I shouldn't have been trying to be so different with the last display, so I definitely started doing things that I liked from the first and put them into here and developed more ideas, in which explains why I feel much better about this one, and will help guide my thinking in the third one. And I'm not going to keep trying to be different for the sake of being different. Instead, just keep developing the ideas so that everything is perfected towards the end. The only problem is with this is that this isn't where I end up putting them. This is just on my desk and a template for you guys to use. So I'm thinking for the last display, I'm just going to go ahead and show you how I end up displaying these figures kind of permanently. So because this is my last display, I'm going to be putting it where I'm going to essentially be keeping it for a long period of time. So I was thinking of putting it at the top, but I'm worried about it kind of running into hands hitting it when they turn lights on or off. Like that's just something I don't really want to have to worry about. And with the bottom, it's a more cramped space. It's not as visible, and I can't have it be as dynamic and explosive as I might have tried previously with the other displays. I also thought maybe I could just put it here in the closet where I have the Spider-Man figure. I mean, I'll just take it down, but it's here in the closet, so it's not exactly what I was thinking, but it does give me more space to work with than I would in the other two. So I ended up going with the bottom shelf option, and the expression feeling trapped in a box rings a bit too true, unfortunately. I felt like limited, I guess. So that makes things a bit more difficult. The problem with this is that I have to come up with a different style than I was before. I could go more vertically, and I have to be more dynamic horizontally. And I am still experimenting with this style, so this one's going to take me a bit longer, I can already tell. So as I was working through this, I realized I was just going to start putting in the ideas and concepts that I had from previous displays and trying to incorporate them into this space. So primarily I did the Iron Man and War Machine and the Spider-Woman pose, the Hank Pym, and the Vision. I can't remember exactly. I can't remember, but, and obviously Hawkeye. So those were a lot of the things I wanted to keep the same, just because I thought they looked really dynamic and cool. And I like how Tigra looks here, but it ends up, I couldn't keep it there. It just, for everyone that I was going to use. And then I also tried to incorporate the U.S. agent throwing his shield, but it ends up not really working very well. It ends up blocking Hank Pym quite often, so I ended up switching that out. But here we're at the end of the video. Got Mockingbird in there, and honestly, pretty happy with how it turned out. Is this like definitive by any means? No, but I'm satisfied with it, especially for the first time doing it in a more cramped space. I want to improve on this a lot. I think I can do a lot of cool things, especially with these characters. This is a fun group to pose, and I'm definitely going to keep expanding on this. But I am West Coast Avengers posed out. It was a lot of messing with this, and I'm ready to kind of take a time out for a little bit, move on, and just kind of enjoying the displays and having a clean space, because it takes a lot getting all the accessories out, stands and all that. It takes a lot out of, as funny as that sounds, it does. So I can't wait to just kind of sit back and relax and enjoy the view. I'm curious what your guys' favorite display was. Was it 1, 2, or 3? Let me know down in the comments below. And if any of these did actually inspire you for yours, feel free to DM me your displays at my Instagram at WallopinWebSnappers. And then in my next video, I'll be sure to showcase the display. The link's in the bio for that. The only thing I feel like that's missing from this is the nameplate for the West Coast Avengers, but that's an easy print, and I can show you in another video when I have it all set up. And I wanted to take a second to thank everyone who watches the entire video. It does mean a lot to me, and as I'm trying to grow my YouTube channel, I can see people, not exactly who, but the people are, and it does mean a lot to know that the content is being watched that I'm making. So really, I'm trying to make the videos more entertaining and getting more comfortable behind a camera so that my voice is a little bit more interesting to listen to. Eventually, I'm probably going to show my face and do a lot more personal stuff. So I am probably going to do a face reveal somewhere around 10K. So that's something to look forward to. Not that I'm impossible to find, but I just will probably start doing that once I have that big of an audience, or maybe 5K. I don't know. But we're almost at 1K, which is awesome. And but I'm about to be going back into school, so the content might slow a little bit, but I'm still got projects planned and already starting some, so I'm gonna keep making videos throughout and as often as I can. That's going to wrap this video up, guys. Thank you for sitting back and kicking it with me. I had a ton of fun making this. These are a great group of figures. Lots of possibilities with these displays. I'm happy with how it came out. If you enjoyed, please leave a like, comment, and subscribe. And I hope to catch you guys in the next video.